Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of my favourite people and some of the world's biggest stars. And we've got one for you today, a man who was a star for over 40 years and he's still filling venues throughout the country. Jasper Carrott, how are you?
Hi Alex, I'm really well, thank you.
Do you know, it must be fabulous to be you. I tell you why, you've never sold out, you're still consistently popular and you're still doing what you want to do. That really is the key to show business, isn't it?
I suppose so. I live 12 miles from where I was born in Birmingham, and I've kept my feet on the ground, and most of my friends are just sort of, normal people. And yes, it's nice of you to say that. No, I've never sold out, hopefully. Made mistakes, obviously, but I can look back on my career and I feel I was influential, and I feel that I've always stuck to my principles. So, I'm a happy man.
I think where you score above most comedians, if you have a charm and a warmth, was that deliberate?
Well, when you're a comedian, basically, you are an extension of yourself, particularly with what I do. If you're a one-line joke merchant, which was the norm in the 70s, the only way you could get onto television was, 10 minutes on the Silver Black Show if you were a stand-up, and, you'd have to do jokes about mother-in-laws and silly Irishmen. But when the raconteur style started to come through, and I got onto television, there has to be a big element of yourself when you're delivering this. I've never used bad language, for instance. Certainly never, the serious stuff that you hear, because it's just not me. I couldn't get an audience to laugh if I effed them blind. And a large part of what I did was me. Obviously I don't go around, 24 hours a day being on stage, but there was always more of me on stage than you would ever realise. And I think that was one of the mainstays of why I've been around for a long time. Because I've always said you have to be who you are, what you are, where you are, and I've always tried to be true to that. And I've never tried to be something that I wasn't, because I think the audience would spot it. And it's got me this far.
Do you know what I've always been amazed by is the amount of material you get through. It seems like you're more than happy to write a great gag, do it on tour, and then throw it in the bin and start again. It's awfully brave because, again, that goes against many of the comedians who are doing the same great gag over and over again, a bit like Sinatra will Sing My Way every season.
Yeah, I try to, obviously, with the demands of television, of course, you have to change the material. When I'm live on stage, I'm on tour at the moment, I have gone back to the early stuff to see what was around, and I've actually revamped a few of the bits that I used to do to bring it right up to date. I used to do a bit about the 60s, and I do that now, but I've revamped it to bring it right up to date. So, there is an element of repetition. There's no two ways about that. But in the main, I try and make it so that if you come to see me, you'll 90% of it will be different from the last time, given a fair gap, about 5 years.
What are you mostly? Are you mostly a musician, a comedian, or a poet? Because they're the three elements of your act, really, aren't they?
I'm certainly not a musician, Alex. I play the guitar and I sing as I do in the show a little bit, But essentially, I am a stand-up. I'm a stand-up comedian, and that's really what I do best, if I'm absolutely honest. I've tried loads of other things, and some of them have been successful, some of them haven't. But I've always thought, the fear of failure has never been that great. If I do it and it's failed, well, okay, at least I gave it a go, and I would have learned from why I failed and make sure it doesn't happen again. It's sometimes difficult to talk about yourself because, obviously I see my career from, 45 years I've been doing it. But people don't ever know you that well. They'll know 2 or 3 years of your career. And like now, there'll be anybody under 25 wouldn't have the faintest idea that I'm a stand-up. So you have to cope with all that, and I try and say, right, okay, here's what audience have I pulled in, and I go out to entertain them on the night. And I'm not particularly trying to build anything, certainly not now, because I've been around too long. So essentially, I'm just enjoying all the experience that I've had over the years and put it into a solid hour of comedy.
What's it like waking up one morning, looking in the mirror and realising you're 70?
Oh, crikey. It is a bit formidable. I mean, I say on stage, there is no redeeming factor about getting old. And none, except wisdom. You see, I'm very wise now, Alex. And I can say to the audience, you know, like, if I could have the body of a 25-year-old, I'd be as happy to be as thick as pig shit.
Why are there so many stupid old people who don't learn then? I mean, why have you got wisdom and so many people don't have time to learn?
I'm the faintest. I think I have to be, as a comedian, you have to be very honest with yourself, you know, because if you start putting on airs and graces, all the other comedians will bring you down within 24 hours.
Was it strange waking up? Because, I mean, the thing about you is you come across with great youth and you certainly don't look 70. Is it a bit strange? Do you sort of look in the mirror and think it's your granddad or something?
Well, I've never been one for looking in the mirror too much. I mean, I've never been a Brad Pitt. I've always had to live with sort of looks that are, you know, at the best average. So I never get too fussed about it. And my image is, whatever it is. I couldn't give a toss, really. I get on, and I do what I do. And if you like it, that's great. And if you don't, well, there's millions of other comedians you can go and watch. There's millions of other entertainers. And I'm just, I'm very happy within myself. So when I look at the mirror, I'm thinking, hey, I've done all right. I've had a good life. I've got a wonderful marriage that's nearly 44 years. I've got 4 kids who are really happy. I've got 6 grandchildren that are happy. I have a lot to be thankful for. So when I look in the mirror, I'm thinking, thank you.
You see, on the one hand, you've got a great legacy of that amazing family. And then on the other hand, I think you were one of the biggest stars in the day. What a shame you missed out on all the totty that you could have had. I mean, this is tragic, Jasper.
Very good, yes. Funny enough, I don't know many comedians that had groupies. You know, Russell Brand, yes, he's probably the exception. But I think groupies don't tend to follow comedians. So I've never had the problem, I have to say, and I'm glad I haven't. But what I did notice that many years ago, I fronted a group. We had a rock and roll group called Belch, which was Bevan Paniello, Tony Iommi on lead guitar, Phil Tree on bass when Roy was with it, and I was the lead singer, played guitar, and I did get a lot of attention from women in the audience, and it was a massive difference. I thought, what the hell have I been doing wrong all these years? So that was an enlightening factor. And of course, with the show that we're doing at the moment, I do sing a few songs, but no, at 70, no one's particularly interested. I mean, a cougar to me would be about 108.
And the strain of being a sex symbol, you wouldn't want that, Jasper. You're too busy.
Oh, no, not at all. I'd have to keep going on to Google to remind myself of what I've got to do, you know.
We look at your friendship. I mean, it goes back, you mentioned Bev there. He's been one of your best mates forever, really.
Well, it seems like that. We met on the first day of grammar school, and that was coming up to 60 years ago. And we've been very best friends, and I was his best man, he was mine, you know. And we go, he lives 10 minutes away, we go on holiday all the time. He was he was an influence in the early days. In the fact that I thought, blimey, yes, that's a great job, you know, when you don't have to get up in the morning. And I sort of fell into comedy through music, because I wasn't very good musician or, you know, very good singer, thank God. So I had to rely upon funny songs and funny chaps. I always wanted to be like Bev, really. Like, oh yeah, that's a great job. And then obviously when I became successful, we were, you know, it was great because we could learn off each other, really. Yeah. And it's been a terrific friendship. It really has. And he's not the only one of 60 years. There's about 5 or 6 of us that met at grammar school, and we still see each other to this day. You know, going on holiday and stuff. And my local school, the grammar school, put a plaque on the wall. Oh. Jasper Carrott, sort of, you know, was miserable here, sort of thing. And there were all 5 of us. And the headline was 300 years of friendship. So that's another thing I'm very grateful for.
It's great, isn't it, that you've made it to this point in your career and you're still sane. You've never been locked up as far as I'm aware. Well, it's certainly not on Google. You've got these great friends, you've got the family, and you're still filling theatres. You are living the showbiz dream. You do realise that there aren't many people who come through the business unscathed.
I suppose you're right, yes. I mean, obviously, life is full of ups and downs. I mean, my daughter is in the business, and I never had any compunction about encouraging her to be an actress, because I said the highs are fantastic, but the lows can be pretty dreadful, and you need to have a lot of support around you to get you through the lows, because it's easy living on a high. And the problem is that once you've been on a few of those highs and you're not getting them, how do you get them? And I suppose the easy way is drugs and alcohol, but fortunately I've never had to go down that route, you know. So yes, it's as I say, highs are high, fantastic, but the lows can be pretty depressing.
Just on that, and I don't want to sort of go on about it, but the point when you realised that the TV industry had changed, it wasn't about you and your act, it was the fact that they weren't booking your type of show anymore. How did you console yourself with that reality that you weren't going to get another series?
Well, it wasn't so much that I wasn't going to get another series, it's that they were offering me a series. In fact, you know, sort of, and they still do, but they're not offering me a series that I want to do. We were talking earlier, before we went on air, about John Oliver, the guy that's been very successful in America with a show called Last Week Tonight. Now, I don't know whether you know, but John Oliver was born in Birmingham.
Right.
He was born in Erdington, and he's this very big star now. And he's doing a show that I pitched to the BBC about 3 years ago, but nobody at the BBC understood what I was trying to do, because they only ever saw me, really, as sort of getting on TV before 9 o'clock on a Saturday, and I really didn't want to do that. So it's my decision not to do TV. And to be fair, Alex, I've been on TV for 40 years. It's time they have fresh people and new people, and I don't want to get in the way. And it's not a downer, because I've done everything I've ever wanted to do. So, as I said earlier, you know, I've had a fantastic career. I'm not greedy, and I'm having the time of my life at the moment, just being on the road with no pressure. I'm below the parapet, so there's no spotlight. So nobody's worried about, you know, if I make a mistake, or, you know, if I don't turn up or something like that. It's wonderful just being back on the road with my mates. And doing the show is just so successful; it's unbelievable. But we are doing small venues, because I've done the 5,000 seaters and the 10,000 seaters. Yes, all very well, but essentially people are paying 25 quid to come and watch you on television. Because when you're in a 5,000 seater, 10,000 seater, you're like an ant on the stage, so everybody's watching the screens. And when you're a stand-up, somehow or other, it takes something away from the performance. And what I've rediscovered is that by playing small venues, the 1,000-seaters, the 1,500-seaters, it's fantastic, because you're back eyeball to eyeball with your audience, and that sort of fear, that intensity on stage is terrific to relive, because you can run anywhere you like on stage, but you can't hide. And it's wonderful having all that. Going back to the grassroots of where I started, in folk clubs and colleges and universities, and that reaction that you get with the audience, and it's like I say I'm a reborn again comedian, you know. Some people say, well, you never won in the first place, but okay, and it's just exciting, and that excitement that I have, and the rest of the guys who are doing the music and the girls, gets through to the audience, and they sit there, and I think the reactions are fantastic, because they don't really expect to see and hear what they're getting, and it's like a bit of a revelation. And we get genuine standing ovations every night. It's not a One Direction standing ovation where it's "Day We Go," you know what I mean? Yes. We really earn the standing ovations, and it's the audience is a bit mature. In fact, we always say that, like, you know, we'd get 100% standing ovations every night if 100% of the audience could stand. No, I mean, that's sort of a resurgence in going back to grassroots, but with the added advantage that I can draw an audience, these days.
Yeah.
And it's been a fantastic experience.
You can find out more at www.jaspercarrott.com about the tour with Bev. I mean, it is a rock concert in places, isn't it? I mean, it's got that feel about it.
Yes, I mean, it's called Stand Up and Rock, and it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
I come out, I do a solid half hour of comedy on my own, and then I introduce the band, and then I introduce the guests that we have that sing the songs, because all the songs are in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, so that's brilliantly done by fantastic musicians. Then we have a break, I do another solid half hour, then I get involved with the music a bit later on. And the whole evening we've got 2 screens on the back of the stage, and we're showing photos all the time of all the artists that we're singing about, or if we're doing Southampton, for instance, we'll show old pictures of Southampton in the 60s and the 70s, and the clubs and the pubs and the entertainment venues, and plus all the, if we're doing a Roy Orbison song, loads of pictures of Roy Orbison. We've got videos and DVDs and stuff. And so it's I won't say it's unique, but it's a package that's out there that nobody else is doing.
Well, congratulations on it. Very finally, I want to talk to you about Birmingham. I was on Gold there for a while, and I just love Birmingham as a city. It seems to be having its problems at the minute. How's it doing? I mean, you're still from the West Midlands, you still live there, and you still love it, don't you?
Yes, city of Birmingham is a great love to me. Like every city, they're having problems with the cuts and the austerity measures, and it's no different from anywhere else. And obviously, we had they've got a brand new library that's 200 million quid's worth, and of course the cuts have affected it greatly. So you can't open it as much as you want. But the city itself is thriving. I mean, there's a massive amount of Chinese money coming in to Birmingham. They're putting more money in Birmingham than any other city in Europe. And of course, there's a big Indian business going on here with Jaguar Land Rover, and so the city itself is in great shape. HSBC, they're all coming in because Birmingham can offer much cheaper rates than London, and with a working population that is intelligent, well educated, and much cheaper. So it's actually, underneath all that austerity, it's really thriving. And there's a great buzz in the city. And as you say, it is a great city. Nobody believes that because it's still got that image of 1870, and it's the workhouse of Britain, and it's grimy and dirty, and it's so far from that. We just have the most wonderful venues that we've been building over the years. And if only we had a successful football team, Alex, we'd be in there.
Listen, I'm all right talking about politics, but don't get me started on football. We'll be here all day. Let's not go there. If they could just get that road sorted into Birmingham as well, that'd be nice. Perhaps they could build a new motorway somewhere.
Well, of course, they built a motorway round it, so nobody actually has to come here. But it is a bit confusing for motorists, I will agree. Obviously, we have Shakespeare just down the road, half an hour, and then we have Sadler's, we have the Birmingham Royal Ballet, and the wonderful NIA, and the Symphony Hall is magnificent. As you say, I mean, we can put on anything up here, but London has always had that sort of, appeal, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And we know we can't compete with that. But at the same time, a lot of people who come, particularly to football clubs, to universities and colleges, when they end their careers or finish their studies, they come and live in Birmingham because it's just a great place to live.
Listen, I've loved talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. Jasper Carrott's on tour. You can see the show by finding out all the dates at www.jaspercarrott.com. I hope you realise how much you mean to people and the love that you've given to them and the fun and the laughs, because really you are one of our greats. And the thing about your material as well is it does have an importance. You do talk about stuff. Aside from all the nonsense, you've got an opinion, and there aren't really that many comedians who make us think. And I hope you realise how much we appreciate that.
Well, that's very flattering, Alex. Thank you very much indeed.
Jasper Carrott, good to talk to you.
Thank you.